Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Live at the Waterhole. What an awesome way to start the afternoon with these elephants drinking here at Rosie's Pan. My name is Amy, and I will be with you for the Waterhole show today. I'm really looking forward to the afternoon to see what we can find. Now, remember, everybody, that this is a live and interactive show, so please do make sure that you say hello to me. I would love to hear from you. Even let me know who you are and where you're from. But if you do have any comments and questions about the show, please do send those through to me as well. And you can do that in a variety of different ways, whether that is on the Wild Earth app, on the website. Just make sure that you register there. Otherwise, you can join the conversation on X using the hashtag WildEarth, or pop your questions and comments into the YouTube chat stream using @FC. Looks like this elephant on the right is using that old tree trunk as a rubbing post for his trunk. And now it's just resting it on it. Joanne, good to hear from you. You say happy Friday. Indeed, a very happy Friday to all of our viewers. Well, we've had elephants all week this week. It's been fantastic. And I've been enjoying the sounds here. As always, hearing elephants drink is so relaxing. It's interesting. This is the first time I've been back to Rosie's in a little while. And you can see how much drier the landscape is. The grass has really turned quite beige in color, and just a few trees that hold their green leaves all year are still around. Things like worry trees. Often bachelor herds like these, it looks like 4 elephant bulls that came to drink. They may hang around, sort of just stand and rest around a waterhole, or we may actually see them start to move away slowly. This is also where we had a hippo that was staying in this waterhole for an on and off period earlier in the year. It seemed to be a young male that was getting bullied by some other males somewhere nearby, and found some solitude and rest in this waterhole until elephants arrived and they would chase out the hippo. But Eddie was just having some fun there, squirting water around. Well, that was a wonderful start, everyone here at Rosie's Pan. Let's head over to Kenya and see what's happening at Oldonyo. Well, a beautiful familiar scene here, and I'm so happy that these zebras are making a more regular appearance, everyone. I always find the colors at Oldonyo so striking. The green, the blue, the white, the grey of the elephants, and the black and white of the zebras. Another elephant is arriving, joining his friends for a drink here. think these zebras are just waiting for a gap where they can move towards the water and also have a drink. And you can see they're getting braver and braver, slowly coming forward. I've seen elephants here with zebras drinking at the same time. But usually then all three are on one side. So this one that's closest to us is sort of cramping the zebra style at the moment. The elephant closest to us has really splashed himself to cool down. You can see half his body changing color completely. And I wonder where One Ton is. That is an elephant that's quite well known that comes to drink here at this waterhole. He has very impressive tusks. Perhaps he was here earlier already. Or maybe we'll see him a little bit later on. Looks like he's got a itchy knee. That's quite impressive balance, I must say. And it's incredible how loud that noise is for us to be able to hear it. Skin on skin rubbing like that. Helen, hello. Thank you so much for your question. That's actually It's a really good question. You want to know if there are too many dominant and old bulls in an area, does that cause issues for the reserve or for other animals? Um, wow, yes, I think it could, in terms of sort of older dominant bulls, if there's too many and they can't determine who's the most dominant, you'll get some very serious clashes, which is what we often speak about. And I suppose that could lead to a decline in good genetics for a reserve in terms of those stronger, more dominant bulls who are obviously been able to survive very long. They have good genes, etc. Um, not being able to mate with other females and create new elephants with those same genes. Um, so because they have to fight and battle it out, often that may lead to death if there's too many in a reserve. But because of the lifespan of elephants, you often find that doesn't really happen if from what my experience and from what I've seen on the reserves I've worked in. Um, so it's an interesting one to think about, Helen, and I think depending on a few different factors, including the size of the reserve, that would be a very, very important thing. I mean, if we think about the Greater Kruger region being close to 3 million hectares, there are a lot of old, big, dominant bulls. A group of them we refer to as tuskers, who really have these magnificent, huge tusks. And they all, sometimes they have areas that overlap, but they can each function without bumping into each other at very often at all. And so we don't really, I've never seen in the Greater Kruger a very serious elephant bull fight to the death, because of the space that they have. So when your question becomes relevant, I think, is in smaller reserves where that can actually pose an issue and have bulls that are being riled up and actually competing for dominance perhaps too regularly. And so then the management team would have to step in and see how best to solve that issue. However, usually planning would take place, and that would actually help counteract those. So measures are taken when establishing a reserve, when introducing elephants. The management team should take into consideration, and of course most do, they or professionals at what they're doing in terms of conservation management and planning, animal numbers and control of those numbers, and the balance in the ecosystem as to what would be best. And especially with elephants living so long, it's quite easy to plan if you've got a herd of 10 and you've got two dominant bulls to cover a 15,000 hectare reserve, for example. The likelihood that those bulls would have to meet and clash over mating rights is very, very low. And whereas if you introduce 20 bulls to a 15,000 hectare reserve, you are more likely to have those sort of clashes taking place, which is what one wouldn't necessarily want, or the outcome that one would want. So it's all down to management and planning. And so generally, if the correct planning has taken place from the beginning, nature seems to balance it out, just them being elephants in the way that they live. So I hope that answers your question, Helen. But it is a consideration and something that must be taken into account in conservation management. Cynthia, hello. You want to know how if there's been any white elephants in the wild? So, in terms of completely albino elephants, none that I know have been able to survive because that would be very difficult. In fact, close to impossible for something completely lacking melanin to survive in the harsh African sun. But what I have seen, Cynthia, is a pink elephant. So they still are quite grey in color, but in between their wrinkles and around their eye, the tips of their trunks and their feet, and even around their ears is quite pink in color. So they're not completely lacking pigment, but they're what we refer to as leucistic, and that makes them more pink than regular elephants. It's actually very fascinating to see, and those I have seen successfully survive out in the wild. It looks like this bull may actually be in must. If we have a look at his back leg as well as his penile sheath, it seems to be dripping urine, if I'm not mistaken, also quite a light color. So I think this bull is actually in must at the moment. Now, of course, we can't smell it through the camera, but must is a very particular scent that you can often smell from very far away with these elephant bulls or where they've walked through. And that's when basically they are looking for a group of females to mate with, and they have a heightened level of testosterone in their bodies. But it looks like there's a gap now for the zebras. Hopefully they'll come and have some water. Sammy, you're 11 years old and you have asked me a few questions. So here we go. You want to know what time of the year do elephants have their babies? Sammy, elephants can have babies any time of the year. So they don't have what we call a breeding season. They can have their babies in any month, whether it's wintertime or summertime. Majority of the babies, most of the time, are born around summer just because of the amount of food, but that's no guarantee. I've seen little babies being born in winter, spring, or autumn, so it can be any time of the year. You want to know how many babies can they have? So 99.9% of the time, Sammy, they only have one calf. That's what we call a baby elephant, is a calf, elephant calf. There has been records of twins, so two being born, but that's very, very, very rare. So it is usually only one that is born. And then you want to know how many times can elephants have babies. So a female can have about 12 to 15 babies in her whole life. So from when she comes of age to be able to fall pregnant all the way until she gets very, very old and passes away, she can have about 12 to 15 baby elephants. Catherine, hi. Thank you for sending through this info. You say there was a leucistic elephant calf seen in the Sabi Sands a few weeks ago. Yeah. I saw one up north in the Pufuri area of Kruger. I've seen one on Ngala where I used to work. So they are around. Every now and again, you'll spot one in a herd. And like I say, they do still have a bit of melanin and they are able to survive in the wild. Hello, you say zebras always seem so organized. They do everything in a neat file line. It is, I think it's their stripes, Ethan, that gives them that look. Very, very neat and organized. And then when they do drink, they sort of in a line always. there's never too much chaos going on when it comes to these zebras, and lots of oxpeckers around at the moment. Some of them are having a bit of a bird bath. And what I love about this subspecies of plain zebra that we get in East Africa is just how striking their markings are all the way down the leg. The Burchell zebra that we see in southern Africa has a shadow stripe that runs in between the main stripe, and the leg markings sort of fade away near the hoof. Whereas this particular subspecies is so pretty, with the stripes being very, very striking in black and white color. Oh, I see the oxpecker here. I also see a starling landed, which is exciting. And an elephant is appearing. Oh, this is so fun. Wow, what a day at Oldonyo. Some beautiful, superb starlings all landing here. How pretty are they? With that rufousy chest and white line and the rest of the iridescent feathers. Very, very pretty indeed. Oh wow, 2 elephants. Joanne, you say, Amy, did you know that some perfumes are made from musk? So Joanne, from my understanding, when it comes to perfumes, originally they used to use what we call musk. So that is spelled slightly differently, and it's a certain scent from the glands of different animals, sometimes civets, sometimes male deer was quite a popular one. But now, of course, due to wanting to protect these animals, they actually make a synthetic version of musk, which they use in perfumes, for example, white musk or something like that. But I did know that they do, it was originally something that they would extract from glands of certain animals to create perfumes. Interesting stuff, isn't it? Mindy, yes, you say, wow, those birds are very blue. They are indeed. It's the sunshine on those feathers that are making them look so bright blue. It really is so pretty. elephants now backing out of the waterhole. Now the other one approaches. You can see as they flap their ears, the little tears and nicks that we were speaking about yesterday. The sun comes through. Just all signs of aging for these big bulls. Ethan, you are 100% correct. I too have only seen male elephants at this particular waterhole, and you want to know if there's any reason why this is the case. Um, yeah, it's an interesting one. I would love to know if there were any herds ever that have come here, but it could also just be the distribution of the herds within this reserve, and other main water sources that they may prefer to use. And especially because this waterhole is so frequently used by such big bulls, the matriarchs may avoid using it. Of course, these are all just possibilities. I'm not entirely sure what the entire elephant population of the reserve where Eldonia Lodge is, um, but it is something that I've noticed. I think everyone watching would have noticed. Have really only seen elephant bulls come and drink here. Well, what a wonderful time here at Old Donno, everyone. A real treat. Who knows, we might be back before the end of the show. But for now, let's head over to Vic Falls and see some warthogs that are there at the waterhole. Oh, this is so cool. Often when I'm out driving on Juma, we never really get a good warthog sighting because they are so skittish and run away so quickly. So it's awesome to have the waterhole show where they can just be relaxed. Looks like there were two of them having a bit of a mud bath here. Oh, there's a third one. So three. The warthog doing what a warthog does best. Oh, that looks like it is really enjoyable. Looks like these warthogs have found some very delicious grass here right next to the waterhole that they are munching away on. Sammy, hi. Thanks for another question. You want to know if warthogs make the same sounds as pigs? Ooh, that's a good question. I guess so. I've heard them squeal like pigs before. I haven't quite heard them make a oink noise as much. Um, but of course, they are from the same family. They are connected. But I don't think they make the same sort of oinky noise that we know pigs to make, but they do squeal. I've heard them squealing, especially some of the babies that do sound like piglets. Spas, you're asking if I know warthogs ever to feed on the roots of aquatic plants. I don't see why not, Spas, if they can get to them. I think maybe the biggest restriction for them, those two look like they aren't too happy with one another. Um, the biggest restriction would be the water, although they do love a mud wallow. You don't really see warthogs going for a proper swim every now and again. But let's say the water hole dries up and they have access to aquatic plants. Um, and they could get to the root system of that. Oh, there's an African jacana walking just between those warthogs there. I don't see why they wouldn't try and eat the roots of that if it was available to them. The next one's going for its bit of mud wallowing. Now, warthogs also do fight for dominance, and this is similar, if you can imagine, to young elephant bulls also tussling about. I think this may be a mom with two of her piglets. Oh, it looks like this marabou stork is limping. Seems like its one leg may have a bit of an injury. Interesting. In the background there we can see a black-winged stilt as well as a black crake. There's also a hooded vulture running around. Well, a cool stop here in Zimbabwe, everyone, to see the warthogs and some of the birds that are around this waterhole. Apparently, there are some new visitors up in Kenya, so let's head over to Oldanyo and see who's arrived. Tudiwa, you are so right. She was just showing how the comparison in size between the warthogs and the giraffes is crazy. You can imagine how tiny those warthogs are, or just how big the giraffe is. Ah, another elephant has arrived back, and wow, we are being so spoilt today, everyone, from giraffe to zebra to an endless stream of Ellies here at Old Donyo. Hi Nathan, you are asking how many teeth do giraffes have? So, interestingly enough, giraffes actually have the same number of teeth as you and me, which is 32 as an adult, 32 teeth. Elephants, on the other hand, have sets of teeth that come through like big molars. So, they don't have front teeth or big, sharp incisor teeth. They have sets that come through in order to chew all that vegetation like a conveyor belt in their mouths. Well, the giraffe has not left yet. He's still around in the background, I think hoping to maybe get another drink of water. And the bulls are also coming back. The third one is arriving now. I do apologize for any human voices you can hear there, everyone. There, of course, are guests that come and see the waterhole as well, and sometimes we do hear them in the background. Candace, hello. You are asking if elephants ever fight each other at these water holes. Very possible. I've seen elephants fight at a water hole before. I haven't seen them fight at this particular water hole. I have seen them fight at in reserves like Madikwe through the water hole show, but never a very, very serious to the death kind of fight. Oh, I think there's an eland in the background there. And just sticking its head up over the hill. Maybe it's on its way to drink. I haven't seen an eland here in forever. I do hope that eland makes its way closer to us. It is coming out there. Yes, I do think it's going to come for a drink, everyone.
Yes, I'm familiar.
And I think it's bringing some friends as well. There's a few more popping out in the back. A whole herd. Oh, this is fantastic. So eland is one antelope species that we don't see too often in the greater Kruger region. They're more located in the northern parts of the Kruger. I believe there was some seen on Amakala on the game drives on sunrise and sunset safaris. I remember Eric saying that he had. So it's lovely to have this show where we can also see a herd of elands coming to drink. And I believe there was a lion kill of an eland this morning at Amakala. I did see that image. It was quite gruesome. But indeed, a antelope that can really only be hunted by lions. It is very, very large. Hopefully they can share this waterhole, these giraffes and eland. I think if everyone takes a bit of time to get used to one another, we might see them drinking together. Vanessa, you also haven't seen elands in ages. What a treat indeed. I'm so glad you're also appreciating them while it lasted. Now, these giraffes are known as Maasai giraffes, one of the different species that we get throughout Africa. And probably the biggest difference that I notice between them and the southern giraffe, which we see in South Africa, is the sort of shape of their markings. These are a lot more feathered, in almost looking a little bit maple leaf like somewhat. Although I have actually seen giraffes in South Africa that have very similar markings to this, but it's more sort of blotchy and solid, whereas these look feathered and almost leaf shaped. Gillian, yes, most certainly giraffes fight. They actually can have quite brutal altercations if they choose to. They are normally very graceful, sort of placid animals for the most part, if you just see them out browsing or having a drink at the waterhole. But as a female comes into estrus and there are a few large males around who are interested in her, you can see male giraffes competing for dominance, and those fights can become quite serious. Joanne, it is awesome, isn't it? Just to see how each one takes their turn having a drink. It's something that, yeah, I guess they have worked out. Maybe it's good for one to keep their head up looking around while the other drops down to have some water. On the right is a female, on the left is a male, it looks like, yes. You can see she is quite a lot smaller than him. It's not always the case that they take turns like this. I've seen sometimes 3 or 4 giraffes all with their heads down. Hannah, you say it seems almost as though there is a hierarchy at these waterholes, and absolutely, Hannah, there most certainly is, and it's all, for the most part, got to do with size, with the elephants being right at the top, and in terms of with regards to mammals and the herbivore side of things. Of course, when it comes to the likes of predators in the mix, they sort of scale off most things other than maybe um, elephants and possibly buffaloes. If there's enough of, they won't move for the predators. But the animals that we see, um, maybe with the exception of giraffe, because they are extremely skittish and would probably move if there was a bird that flapped too loudly. I've actually seen that happen before. But generally, the birds will move out the way for something like mongooses running down, for example. Then the mongooses will move out of the way for the warthog, and the warthog will move out of the way for the impalas, and the impalas will move out of the way for, I don't know, maybe the zebra, and out of the way for the eland, and etc. Eland out the way for the giraffe, and so we go up based on size. Well, it has been awesome visit here at Old Donyo, everyone. Wow, such variety today. But I think let's make our way over to Katai Pan, where there are some elephants. Oh, wow, lovely. Small herd that's come to drink. Joanne, you say that it seems odd that you don't see predators during the daytime at watering holes. It may seem slightly odd, Joanne, but if we think about most predators and their times of peak times of activity, it's actually not during the sort of middle of the day when the show is on. It's actually usually at dusk and dawn or throughout the nighttime. That's not to say that we don't see leopards and lions moving around during the day at all. I most certainly have. They've even killed things in the middle of the day if opportunity presents itself. But generally, cats in particular, even things like wild dogs and cheetah, tend to rest during the day. So we don't see them moving around that much. And then, therefore, the chances, the probability of seeing them to catch them on camera is a lot lower during the day. Whereas as we come into the evening time, throughout the night and the early morning, though that probability increases quite dramatically. Hudson, hi. Welcome to the show. Thanks for your comment. You say you love watching the interaction between elephants. It is special, isn't it? And it's something that you can never quite get tired of. There's always something new to see. Candice, I haven't seen an aardvark here myself personally. I don't know, Jordan or anyone in FC, if there's any record of a clip of an aardvark at these waterholes. Jordan says not that she knows of either. I have seen aardvarks before though, but not on live at the waterhole as of yet. But who knows? What's quite great is that if we do pick up any special sightings like that overnight, we do try and share those clips with you and insert them during the show. So if it does happen, we will be able to show it to you even if it's not live, which is quite cool. But that would be absolutely incredible. Imagine it just wandered out in the daytime, an aardvark or even a pangolin. That would be incredible. It's possible. And often one may think that this is a little bit small for an elephant herd, but this could be it. This could just be two females and their two calves that are the entire herd of elephants. And slowly but surely, after the years go by, these females will give birth to another calf, and then these calves that we're looking at here, in maybe about 4 or 5 years, will have calves of their own. So it's all part of a herd growing in size. Well, we have come back to Oldonyo here, everybody, and the elephants are still around. This particular bull has such beautiful tusks. He's been enjoying a drink here at the waterhole. Oh, Jordan's just let me know that apparently at Tenby there's some bulls having a bit of a tussle. So let's head over there and see what's happening. Well, these two are definitely sizing each other up. I could hear the tusks clashing there briefly. The one hanging its trunk on the other one's tusk, giving it a sniff and a feel. I don't know if I would like that behavior, someone coming in, snuffing and touching my tusks. Wouldn't be surprised if these two have another go at each other. There we go. We were just talking about seeing elephants fight at these water holes. Well, here you go. This isn't very serious though. These are two younger bulls. Older, but younger. They're not very, very old and sort of dominant. But they were just checking each other out. But always such a beautiful scene here at Tenby. There's some impalas in the background. Elephants enjoying some fresh water. Oh, there's another one. I think there's always quite a few eddies around here at Tenby. But what an afternoon it's been, everyone. I can't believe we're coming to the end of the show. Thank you so much to everyone for watching this afternoon. We, as always, really do appreciate all of you. Gillian, you say this has been a super relaxing live at the waterhole. Thanks, Amy. It's a pleasure. It has been a great afternoon. We've had a lot going on, a lot of variety even here. We've got a warthog on the left, 3 elephant bulls, some impalas in the background. We've had zebras and giraffes up at Oldonyo. We even visited Vic Falls in Zimbabwe and saw the birds as well as those warthogs there. Quite entertaining to see these bulls intertwining their trunks like this. Now everyone, I will not be back with you tomorrow. Taylor will be here, but I'll be back on Sunday. So I hope that you will all tune in. Make sure that you join us tomorrow again for Live at the Waterhole with Taylor. And yeah, immediately coming up after this is On Safari. So the show that sort of gives you the highlights of the last 24 hours. So make sure that you stay tuned to Wild Earth. And then straight after that will be the Sunset Safari, where you get to hop on board the largest virtual safari vehicle in the world and go out on a bumble in the African bush and enjoy some incredible sightings with some very cool people. who will be taking you out and guiding you through that experience. But that is all we have time for today, everyone. Thank you to everyone who sent through comments and questions. It was so lovely to chat, some interesting topics brought up, and we will, of course, do it again. Like I said, I will be back on Sunday, so I'm looking forward to it. But enjoy tomorrow, enjoy the rest of your afternoon or morning, depending where you are in the world. And from all of us here at Wild Earth and the Live at the Waterhole show, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back tomorrow. See you on Sunday.
That is an inside safari, and you're watching On Safari. Hello everyone!